The hall was silent, too silent, like something was waiting to happen. Hundreds of alien species sat in a massive circular chamber, their glowing eyes fixed on the center stage, where a single chair stood under a white light, and on that chair sat a small girl. She looked weak, fragile, almost like a normal child, but she was not normal. She was the princess of one of the most powerful empires in the galaxy, and she had not spoken a single word for 12 years. Whispers moved across the hall, low and uneasy. "They say she can hear thoughts," one creature said quietly. "No." Another replied, "They say something is trapped inside her mind." The lights flickered for a second, then returned to normal. The girl did not move. Her long silver hair covered part of her face, and her glowing pale eyes stared at nothing, or maybe at something no one else could see. At the edge of the hall stood a human. He wore a simple uniform, nothing special, no rank, no honor, just another outsider in a room full of powerful beings. His name was Aaron, and he was not supposed to be here. Humans were new to the galaxy, unknown, untrusted. Most species ignored them, some feared them, but today, Aaron had been called to observe, nothing more. Stay quiet, do not interfere. His commander had told him before entering. Aaron nodded, but his eyes stayed on the girl. There was something strange about her. Something wrong. Suddenly, a loud sound echoed through the hall. A machine behind the girl activated, glowing with blue energy. "This is the final attempt," a tall alien scientist announced, his voice cold and sharp. "We will enter her mind and remove the problem." The word problem felt heavy in the air. The girl did not react, not even a blink. Aaron felt a strange pressure in his chest. Something about this did not feel right. The machine started to hum louder, energy rising. Then suddenly, the lights went out. Complete darkness filled the hall. A few seconds passed. Then whispers began. Nervous, afraid. "What is happening?" someone asked. The emergency lights turned on, glowing red, and in that red light, the girl had moved. Head was slightly raised. Her eyes were no longer empty. They were focused, locked onto someone in the crowd. Aaron froze, because she was looking directly at him, out of hundreds of beings. She chose him. His heart started beating faster. This was impossible. No one had ever made her react before. Not the scientists, not her own people, no one. But now, she was staring at him like she knew him, like she had been waiting. A sudden sharp pain hit Aaron's head. He grabbed his temple, trying to stay calm, and then he heard it. A voice, soft, broken, almost like a whisper inside his mind. "Help me." Aaron's eyes widened. He looked around quickly. No one else reacted. No one else heard it. The voice came again, clearer this time. "Please." His breathing became heavy. This was not normal. This was not possible. He slowly looked back at the girl. She had not moved, but her eyes, they were different now. There was fear in them, deep, endless fear. And something else, something dark, something that did not belong to a child. The machine behind her suddenly exploded with sparks. Scientists rushed forward, shouting orders. "Shut it down. Contain her." But it was too late. The energy in the room felt unstable, like it could break. At any moment, Aaron took a step back, his mind racing. That voice, it was real, and it was calling him. "They are coming." The whisper returned, weaker now. "Don't let them find me." Aaron clenched his fists, trying to understand what was happening. What was inside her mind? What was she running from, and why? Did she choose him? The alarms started screaming across the hall, red lights flashing faster, security forces moving in. The entire chamber was turning into chaos, but in the middle of it all, the girl stayed still, her eyes still locked on Aaron, as if nothing else existed, as if he was her only hope. And deep inside his mind, that voice spoke one last time. "If you enter, you may never come back." Aaron did not move, but for the first time since he entered that hall, he made a decision. He was not going to walk away. And somewhere far beyond what anyone could see, something inside the girl's mind had just awakened. and it was watching him too. Asterisk, the alarms were still screaming, red lights flashing across the hall. Guards rushed forward, weapons ready. But no one dared to touch the girl. She was still sitting on the chair, silent, unmoving, but her eyes were still locked on Aaron. Aaron felt frozen in place, like something invisible was holding him there. His heart was beating fast, louder than the alarms around him. "Stay," the voice returned inside his mind, soft but urgent. Aaron looked around again, panic rising in his chest. No one else reacted, no one else heard her. He swallowed hard and took a slow step forward. A guard immediately blocked his path. "Stop, human. This area is restricted," the guard said. Aaron hesitated, then looked past him. "Straight at the girl. She is trying to communicate," Aaron said quietly. The guard frowned, confused. "What are you talking about?" Before Aaron could answer, the voice came again, stronger this time. "They are watching." Aaron flinched slightly. His hands tightened. Something was wrong, very wrong. "Move," Aaron said suddenly. Pushing past the guard tried to stop him, but something unexpected happened. The lights flickered again, and every machine in the room shut down for a moment. Just 1 second. But it was enough. Aaron reached the center. Standing just a few steps away from the girl, up close she looked even weaker, her face pale, her lips dry, but her eyes, they were alive, full of fear, full of pain, and something else. Something hidden. "You came." The voice was clearer now, almost like she was right next to him. Aaron took a deep breath, trying to stay calm. "I can hear you," he whispered, very softly for the first time. The girl reacted. Her fingers moved slightly, a small movement, but enough to shock everyone watching. "She moved," one scientist shouted. "This is impossible," another said. Aaron ignored them. He focused only on her. "What is happening to you?" he asked in a low voice. For a moment, nothing happened. Then suddenly, Aaron's vision changed. The hall disappeared, the noise vanished, and in its place, there was darkness, endless darkness. Aaron stood alone, breathing heavily. "What is this?" he whispered then. Images flashed around him, fast, broken, chaotic, burning cities, screaming voices, falling ships from the sky, and shadows moving between the flames. Aaron stumbled back, trying to understand. This is her memory, he realized. A small figure appeared in the distance, the girl, but younger, smaller, crying, alone, surrounded by destruction. Aaron took a step toward her, but suddenly, the ground shook. A deep, heavy sound echoed through the darkness. Like something massive was moving. The air became cold, too cold. "Don't look at them." Her voice whispered again, now filled with fear. Aaron turned slowly, and in the distance, he saw it. A shape, huge, dark, shifting like smoke, watching, waiting. Its presence felt wrong, unnatural, like it did not belong in this world. Or any world. Aaron's chest tightened. "What is that?" he asked, his voice shaking slightly. The girl's voice trembled inside his mind. "It found me." The shadow moved closer, slowly, each step shaking the ground beneath them. Aaron stepped in front of the girl, instinctively, even though he had no weapon, no power, just a human, standing against something impossible, back in the real world. Aaron's body stood frozen in front of the chair, his eyes open but unfocused. Scientists panicked. What is happening to him? He is connected to her. Energy readings started rising again. Unstable, dangerous. This is not controlled. One scientist shouted, "Pull him out now," but no one could move, because the moment they tried, the machine sparked violently, like something was stopping them, back inside the darkness. The shadow stopped just a few steps away. It leaned forward, its shape twisting, forming something almost like a face, and then it spoke, its voice deep, echoing, cold. "She is mine." Aaron felt fear rush through his body, but he did not step back. Instead, he looked at the girl behind him. She was shaking, terrified, and for the first time, truly helpless. Aaron clenched his fists. No, he said firmly. The shadow paused. The air around them grew heavier. You do not belong here, human, it said. Slowly, Aaron took a deep breath. Maybe not, he replied. But she does not belong to you either, for a moment. Everything became still. Then suddenly the shadow moved too fast to react. Darkness rushed toward them like a storm. The ground cracked, the sky shattered, and the girl screamed inside his mind. Aaron reached for her, but the darkness was already there, swallowing everything, and just before everything went black, her voice whispered one last time, "If you stay, you will be trapped like me." Darkness swallowed everything, like the world had been erased for a moment. There was nothing, no sound, no light, no ground. Then suddenly, Aaron felt something hard beneath him. He hit the ground and gasped for air. His chest rose quickly as he tried to understand where he was. Slowly, faint light appeared around him, not bright, but enough to see shapes. Broken land stretched in every direction. Cracked earth, burned trees, and pieces of destroyed buildings scattered everywhere. The sky above was not normal. It looked like glass, shattered into thousands of pieces, each piece showing flashes of memories, war, fire, screaming ships falling from the sky. Aaron pushed himself up, his legs shaking slightly. "This is her mind," he said quietly, but this time it felt more real, more dangerous, like he was not just seeing it, he was inside it. A soft sound reached his ears, crying. Aaron turned quickly and saw her, the princess. She was standing a few steps away, small, fragile, holding her arms closed like she was trying to protect herself. Her glowing eyes looked at him, filled with fear. "You came back." Her voice echoed, still inside his mind. Aaron took a careful step forward. "I told you. I can hear you," he said gently. She hesitated, like she did not trust him fully. "No one stays," she whispered. "They all leave. Or they disappear." Aaron stopped, giving her space. "I am not leaving," he said, simple and clear. For a moment, she just looked at him, like she was trying to understand something new, something she had never seen before. Then suddenly, the ground trembled. A deep, heavy sound rolled across the broken world. Both of them froze, her eyes widened in fear. "It knows you are here," she said quickly, before Aaron could ask anything. The sky above cracked louder. One of the shattered pieces fell, and when it hit the ground, it exploded into images. A battlefield appeared around them, soldiers running, ships crashing, fire everywhere. Aaron looked around, shocked. "This is not real," he said. But it felt real, too real. Heat from the flames touched his skin. The screams felt close, like he was inside the memory itself. "Run," the girl said suddenly. Aaron turned to her, confused. "What?" A loud roar cut him off. Something massive moved behind them, the shadow, but now it was bigger, clearer, its form shifting constantly, like it was made of darkness and broken memories. Its eyes glowed faintly inside the black shape, locked onto them. Aaron felt a cold fear run through his body. "Stay behind me," he said quickly, stepping forward. The girl shook her head. "You cannot stop it," she whispered. "I have tried many times." The shadow moved closer, each step breaking the ground beneath it. "You do not belong here," it growled, its voice shaking the air itself. Aaron clenched his fists, forcing himself not to step back. "Neither do you," he replied. The shadow paused for a second, then laughed low and heavy. "I was born here," it said. "I am her fear, her pain, her war." The words hit hard. Aaron glanced at the girl. She lowered her head, trembling. "It never leaves," she said softly. "It watches. Always." The shadow suddenly rushed forward, faster than before. "Run!" Aaron shouted, grabbing her hand for a second. She froze, like she was not used to being touched. Then she followed him. They ran across the broken land, the battlefield shifting around them, changing, collapsing. One moment it was fire. The next it was darkness, memories blending together, unstable. The sky above cracked again, pieces falling like rain. Aaron looked around quickly, searching for a way out. "There has to be something," he said, breathing hard. "There is no exit," she replied. "This place has no end." The shadow crashed behind them, destroying everything in its path. "You cannot escape me," it roared. Aaron pulled her behind a broken wall, both of them breathing fast. He looked at her serious. "There is always a way," he said. She shook her head, tears forming in her eyes. "You do not understand. This is my mind." "That means you control it," Aaron said firmly. She looked at him, confused. "No. It controls me," she replied, before he could respond. The wall behind them exploded. The shadow broke through, reaching toward them, darkness. Stretching like hands, Aaron grabbed her arm, pulling her away just in time. They ran again, faster now, the ground cracking beneath their feet, the world collapsing around them, and in that chaos, something changed. The girl stopped suddenly. Aaron turned, shocked. "What are you doing?" She looked at the shadow, then back at him. Her fear was still there, but something else had appeared. "A small spark. I cannot run forever," she said quietly. The shadow moved closer, ready to strike. Aaron stepped beside her. "Not in front. Then we do not run," he said. The shadow stopped just a few steps away. The air became still, heavy, like the world itself was holding its breath, and for the first time, the girl did not look away. The shadow stood still in front of them, like it was waiting, watching. The broken world around them became quiet, too quiet, like everything was holding its breath. Aaron could feel the weight in the air, heavy and cold, pressing against his chest. The girl did not move. Her small hands were shaking, but she did not step back this time. For the first time, she faced it. The shadow slowly tilted its form, like it was studying her. "You stopped running," it said, its voice deep and echoing. The girl swallowed, her voice weak but clear inside Aaron's mind. "I am tired of running," she said. Shadow let out a low sound, almost like a laugh. "You always say that," it replied, "and you always break." Aaron stepped slightly closer to her, not in front, not behind, but beside her. "You are not alone now," he said quietly. The shadow's attention shifted to him. "You should not be here, human," it growled. "This mind will consume you." Aaron did not respond to the threat. Instead, he looked at the girl. "What really happened?" he asked softly. The question hung in the air for a moment. Nothing changed. Then suddenly, the world around them started to move, not breaking, but changing. The darkness pulled back and a new memory formed around them. A palace appeared, bright and beautiful. Tall, glowing towers, soft light, peaceful skies. The girl was there again, but younger, smiling, laughing, running through the halls. Aaron watched carefully. "This was your home," he said. She nodded slowly. "Before the war," she whispered. The scene shifted again. The sky darkened, alarms echoed, ships appeared above. The palace massive and black, explosions lit up the sky. The ground shook violently. Aaron felt it under his feet. "It feels real," he said. "It is real to me," she replied, her voice trembling. The memory continued. Soldiers ran, people screamed. Fire spread across the palace. The young girl stood frozen, watching everything fall apart. Then something else appeared. Not a ship, not a soldier, something darker. A moving shadow inside the flames. Aaron's eyes narrowed. "That thing," he said slowly. "It was there from the beginning." The girl nodded, tears forming. "I saw it before." "Anyone else," she said. "No one believed me." The shadow in the memory moved closer to the young girl, whispering something no one else could hear. "It spoke to me," she said. "It told me everything would be destroyed." The memory jumped forward, the palace collapsing, the sky burning, and the young girl sitting alone in the ruins, silent, not speaking, not moving, just watching. Aaron felt a tight pain in his chest. "You were alone," he said quietly. She nodded again. "And it stayed with me," she added. The memory faded. The broken world returned. The shadow in front of them grew larger, stronger. I was born from that moment, it said. From her fear, her pain, her silence. Aaron looked at it, understanding now. You are not just inside her mind, he said. You are feeding on it. The shadow's form twisted slightly. Yes, it replied, and she keeps feeding me. The girl looked down, her body shaking again. I cannot stop it, she whispered. It comes back every time. Aaron shook his head. No, he said firmly. You are making it stronger by running. She looked at him, confused and scared. What do I do then? She asked. Aaron took a step forward, closer to the shadow. You face it, he said. The shadow laughed loudly, shaking the ground. She has tried, it said. And she failed every time. Aaron did not look away. That was before, he replied. The shadow's glowing eyes focused on him. And now, it asked. Aaron glanced at the girl. She was still afraid. But she was not looking away anymore. Now. She is not alone, he said. The air became heavier. The shadow's form expanded, growing darker. Then both of you will break, it growled. It moved forward suddenly, faster than before. Darkness spreading across the ground like a wave. Aaron did not run, this time. He stepped forward. Look at it, he said to her. Do not look away. She hesitated, fear rising again, but slowly. She lifted her head. Her glowing eyes locked onto the shadow, her body trembling, but she did not close her eyes. The shadow reached them, its darkness crashing like a storm, and for the first time, the girl did not scream. She stood there, shaking. But standing, the ground beneath them cracked. The sky above shattered again, but something new happened. A faint light appeared around her, small, weak, but real. The shadow stopped for a split second, like it felt something different, something it did not expect. Aaron saw it and understood. This is your mind, he said quickly. You can fight back. The girl took a slow breath, her fear still there, but changing. And in that moment, the war inside her mind was no longer just fear. It had become a fight. The light around the girl flickered like a weak flame in a storm. The broken world trembled as the shadow in front of them grew larger, darker and more unstable. It was no longer just a shape. It was becoming something real inside the mind, something that had waited for years, feeding in silence. Aaron stood beside the girl, his breathing heavy but controlled. He could feel it now, clearly. This was not just fear. This was something alive inside her mind. The shadow moved slowly forward again, its voice echoing through the shattered sky. So, it said coldly, you learn to stand. The girl's hands were shaking, but she did not step back. Her eyes stayed locked on it, even though tears were forming. I am still here, she whispered inside Aaron's mind. The shadow tilted its form, almost amused. You are always here, it replied. That is the problem. The ground cracked beneath them, and suddenly the space around shifted again. The battlefield changed into something worse, a never-ending corridor of broken memories, walls made of screaming voices, doors that opened into fire and silence. Aaron looked around quickly, trying to understand. This place is changing with her emotions, he realized. The shadow moved closer, step by step. You think standing changes anything, it said. I have been with her since the first scream. The girl closed her eyes for a moment, pain rising inside her. Images flashed in the air, her childhood again, small hands reaching out in a burning palace, no one answering, no one saving her. Aaron saw it clearly now. Not just destruction, but isolation. That is why you stayed silent, he said softly. She nodded slowly. If I spoke. It got worse, she replied. The shadow suddenly laughed, deep and shaking. Yes, it said. Because I listened. The sound hit like thunder, and the corridor shook violently. Aaron stepped forward instinctively. Stop feeding on her fear, he shouted. The shadow turned toward him slowly. I do not feed on it, it said. I am it. The air went silent for a moment. Then the shadow began to change. Its shape broke apart and reformed. Now it was not just darkness. It had faces inside. It hundreds of them, all screaming, all broken. Memories of pain, fear, war, and loneliness. Aaron felt a sudden pressure in his head. It was trying to enter him too. He clenched his fists. Resisting it, the girl stepped closer to him, not away. "I cannot hold it much longer," she said weakly. Aaron looked at her, serious now. "You are." "Not holding it alone," he replied. The shadow stretched forward suddenly. Dark hands formed from nothing, reaching toward them. "You belong to me," it said again, louder this time. The girl flinched, memories flashing again, but Aaron grabbed her attention. "Look at me," he said firmly. She hesitated, then slowly turned toward him. "Do not listen to it," he said. "It only speaks your pain, not your truth." The shadow stopped for a moment, confused. Then it screamed. The sound shattered the corridor, breaking walls of memory around them. Irene almost fell, but stayed standing. The girl screamed too, but inside her mind, not out loud. The entire space shook violently. "This is my world," the shadow roared. "I control everything here." But something changed. The light around the girl grew slightly stronger, small, but steady. Aaron noticed it immediately. "It is reacting to you," he said quickly. She looked at her hands, surprised. "I did not do this," she said softly. "Yes, you did," Aaron replied. The shadow rushed forward, faster than before. The entire corridor collapsed into darkness, everything breaking apart. Aaron grabbed her hand tightly. "Do not let go," he said. She held on, scared but trusting him now. The shadow appeared in front of them instantly, too close, too powerful. "You cannot escape what you are," it whispered. The girl shook, fear rising again, but this time something different happened. She did not step back. She did not close her eyes. She looked directly at it, and for the first time, she spoke inside her mind with strength. "No," she said clearly. The entire world paused. The shadow froze, just for a moment. Aaron felt it too. The pressure in the air changed. The girl took a shaky breath, then continued. "I am not only this," she said. "I am not only fear." The shadow started to shake violently, like it was losing control. Aaron stepped forward beside her again. "That is right," he said. "You are more than it." The light around her grew brighter, stronger. The broken corridor started to repair itself slowly. The shadow screamed again, louder, angrier, but now it was not confident anymore. It was afraid, and for the first time. The war inside her mind was not one-sided anymore. The world inside her mind was no longer fully dark. Cracks of light spread across the broken corridor, like something inside. It was slowly waking up. The shadow stood still, but its form was unstable now, flickering between shapes, faces, and darkness. Aaron could feel it clearly. The balance had changed, for the first time. It was not fully in control. The girl stood beside him, her body shaking, but her eyes were different now, still afraid. But no longer empty. The silence inside her mind was starting to break. The shadow spoke slowly, its voice lower now, less certain. "You think this changes anything," it said. "You are still inside me." The girl took a shaky breath, and for a moment, she looked at Aaron, not in fear, not in confusion. I cannot stay silent anymore," she whispered. Aaron nodded once. "Then do not," he said simply. The shadow reacted instantly. The entire space shook violently, like it was angry. At the words, "No," it roared. "Silence is what keeps you safe." The walls of memory around them started collapsing again, faster this time, but something new was happening. The cracks of light were not disappearing. They were spreading. The girl closed her eyes, and for the first time, she did not run from the memory. Instead, she faced it. Her voice trembled, but it was real. "I remember everything," she said. Aaron looked at her carefully. The shadow rushed forward, trying to interrupt her thoughts, but she did not stop. "They left me alone," she continued. "They all left." The corridor flashed again, showing images of her past, burning cities, empty halls, broken promises. But now, She was not only watching, she was standing inside it, aware, awake. Aaron stepped slightly forward, staying close. "You are not that child anymore," he said. The shadow screamed, louder, more unstable. "Do not listen to him," it shouted. "Is not real here." But the girl shook her head slowly. "He is real," she replied. The entire world froze for a second. Even the shadow stopped moving. The girl's hands stopped shaking now. Her voice became stronger, clearer. "I was silent because I was scared," she said. "But silence did not save me." The cracks of light exploded outward, spreading through the entire mindscape. The broken corridors started rebuilding themselves, piece by piece. The shadow tried to resist, but it was weakening. Aaron could see it clearly now. It was losing its grip. "This is not possible," the shadow whispered. "I am her fear." The girl opened her eyes fully now. "No," she said firmly. "You are only what I allowed to stay." The moment she said that, everything changed. The shadow screamed in rage, its form breaking apart. Dark fragments flew across the space like shattered glass. The entire mindscape shook violently. Aaron grabbed her hand quickly. "Stay focused," he said. She nodded, breathing deeply for the first time. She was not reacting, she was controlling. The light around her expanded, surrounding both of them. The shadow tried to reform, but it was too late. Its voice cracked, unstable now. "You cannot remove me," it said weakly. The girl stepped forward. Slowly but firmly. "I am not removing you," she said. "I am ending you." The words hit like a final strike. The shadow froze completely. The entire world went silent. Aaron felt the pressure lift slightly. Like something heavy was finally breaking. The shadow let out one last distorted sound, a mix of rage, fear, and something almost like pain. Then it started collapsing inward. The darkness folded into itself, shrinking, fading. The corridor of memories began to disappear, replaced by soft light. The girl stood still, watching it end. Aaron looked at her carefully. "It is over," he said softly. "But..." She shook her head slowly. "Not yet," she replied. Aaron frowned slightly. Confused, before he could ask, the entire mindscape flashed one final time, and the shadow spoke again. But this time, not with power, with something broken. "If I disappear, you will feel everything," it said. The girl closed her eyes for a moment, then nodded. "I already do," she said quietly. The shadow paused, then finally collapsed completely, like smoke disappearing into light. Silence followed, but this time, it was not empty silence, it was calm. The broken world around them stopped collapsing, and slowly began to stabilize. Aaron looked around, surprised. "It is changing," he said. The girl took a slow breath, and for the first time, smiled slightly. "I can feel it," she said. "My mind is quiet." A soft glow surrounded them, warmer now. Peaceful. The war inside her was finally ending. Aaron looked at her, understanding the weight of what just happened. "You did it," he said quietly. She looked at him, still processing everything. "No," she replied softly. "We did it, and..." For the first time in 12 years, the silence inside her mind was not fear, it was peace. The silence was no longer heavy, it was calm, like a storm had finally ended after years of destruction. Inside the girl's mind, the broken world was gone, replaced by soft light spreading slowly in every direction. Aaron stood beside her, breathing slowly, still processing everything that had just happened. The war inside her mind was over, but the connection between them had not broken yet. The girl looked around, confused at first, like she was waking up from a long nightmare. Her hands were no longer shaking, her breathing was steady, but her eyes were different now, clear, alive, and aware. "I can feel everything," she said softly. Her voice echoed not just in the mind, but deep in Aaron's thoughts too. Aaron nodded slowly. "That means you are back," he said. She looked at him for a moment, then glanced at her own hands, as if trying to understand what had changed. The light around them began to rise, slowly pulling them upward. The mindscape was collapsing, but not in destruction this time. It was closing gently, like a door being shut after a long war. Irene felt a strange pull in his body. The connection was ending. "We are going back," he said quietly. The girl looked at him suddenly. "Will I forget this?" she asked, a hint of fear returning for a moment. Aaron shook his head. "No," he said, "this is part of you now." The light grew brighter, surrounding them completely. The broken world faded away, piece by piece, and then everything went white. A sharp breath broke the silence in the real world. Aaron's body jerked forward, and he almost fell to the ground. The machine around him sparked violently, then shut down completely. Scientists rushed forward, shouting, checking readings, confused and shocked. But Aaron did not hear them properly. His mind was still adjusting. He slowly looked up and saw her. The alien princess was still sitting on the chair, but now she was awake. Her eyes were open, no longer empty, no longer silent. A soft glow faded from her body, like the last trace of the mind connection disappearing. The entire hall was frozen in disbelief. No one moved, no one spoke. After 12 years, she had finally awakened. The girl slowly turned her head, looking around the hall for the first time in years. Everything felt new to her, like she was seeing reality for the first time again. Her lips parted slightly, and then she spoke, a small broken sound at first, then clearer. "I remember," she said softly. The words hit the hall like an explosion. Scientists stepped back, shocked. Guards lowered their weapons slightly, confused. Whispers started spreading. Immediately, she spoke. "It is impossible." She never spoke before. Aaron stepped forward slowly, still recovering from the connection. The girl looked at him, and for a moment, the entire hall became quiet again, not because of fear, but because of understanding. She remembered him, the only one who did not leave her alone inside that darkness. Aaron stopped a few steps away. Not knowing what to say, she stood up slowly. From the chair, her movements were weak but steady, and then she took one step forward, then another. The entire hall watched in silence as she approached him. No guards moved, no one interrupted. When she finally stood in front of him, she looked up slightly and spoke again, clearer this time. "You stayed," she said. Aaron nodded once. "I said I would," he replied softly. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Then she did something unexpected. She placed her hand gently on her chest and said, "I was silence," she said. "But now, I am not." Her voice echoed across the hall, no longer broken, no longer afraid. The scientists looked at each other in disbelief. The princess, who had been silent for 12 years, was finally speaking. But Aaron could still feel something deeper. The connection had ended. But not completely. Something inside her had changed permanently. She was free, but not fully untouched. As the lights stabilized and alarms finally stopped, the hall slowly returned to normal. But no one could forget what they had just witnessed. The girl who was broken had spoken again, and the human who should not have been there had changed everything. Aaron looked at her one last time, and she gave a small, almost invisible smile. Not of sadness, not of fear, but of recognition, and somewhere far beyond the physical world. A silent war had ended, but a new beginning had just started. Asterisk.